हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna. So welcome you all for this Brahma-saṁhitā discussions. We are at the shloka 19 of Brahma-saṁhitā. And just before we read shloka 19, we'll remind ourselves a little bit what is this all about. I'll just share the screen with you. Here you can see, if you remember in shloka 13 of Brahma-saṁhitā, we were reading that the spiritual seeds of Sankarshan exist in the pores or skin of Mahavishnu, are born as so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with 5 great elements. So, there was a little jump in Brahma Samhita from shloka 13 to shloka 19 continues because many things happens simultaneously in the process of creation. So here in the purport, we were reading how this, when the golden sperms coming out with exhalation Mahavishnu enter into unlimited accommodating chamber of the limited potency Maya, they become enlarged by non-conglomerate great elements. Non-conglomerate great elements means they are not mixed together. They are existing separately. So you can see that coverings of universe, every element is separately covering the, the, the golden egg. Okay, so now we go to the shloka 19, which is today's text, where actually shloka 13 continues in shloka 19. In the meantime was explained how Garbhodakasha Vishnu is expanded and how he uh, enters into the universe and all other thing in between. So now we are continuing reading about these elements. So text 19 I read. Tattvani purvarudhani karanani parasparam samavaya prayogacha vibhinani pritak pritak chichaktya sajjamano tha bhagavan adi purusha yojayan mayaya devo yoga nidram akalpayat. So this is text 19. Okay. Before the conglomeration, the primary elements in their nascent state remained originally separate entities. Non-application or the conglomerating process is the cause of their separate existence. Divine Mahavishnu, primal Godhead, through association with his own spiritual chit potency, moved Maya, and by the application of the conglomerating principle, created those different entities in the state of cooperation. And after that, he himself consorted with Yoga Nidra by way of his eternal dalliance with his spiritual chit potency. So here in these two verses, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that Brahma describes how through Lord's own energy, how by Lord's interference, these elements mix together, conglomerate together. So this will be explained in detail in a few moments. Um, and Bhagavan, after assembling the material elements, what he does, he doesn't bother with creation. He goes back with his, he pays full attention back to his spiritual chit potency. He enjoys pastimes with Rama Devi. We already heard that creation is his secondary activity. This is not the main thing the Lord does. Lord's main thing is enjoying pastimes with his devotees, with his potencies in the spiritual world. And after doing creation, it's just one glance on the side. That's all what he did. What the Lord did? Just glance on the side. One glance at the shadow of Rama Devi, shadow of Chit potency, and all creation took place. And he's fully in charge of creation, but all of this is his secondary activity. Side dish, nothing important. What is the difficulty for Lord to create the world? Nothing, peanuts, effortlessly. You know, we heard from the Bible that God created world in 6 days and 7 days he took rest because it was a difficult task. But the God described in the Vedas how he does Saikshata Eko Bahusham Prajayata. Simply by glancing, everything is done. All the time he's resting. All the time he's resting means Yoga Nidra. He is engaged in the transcendental loving pastimes with his consort and with his devotees. So effortlessly, the Lord creates everything. Now, all of these elements are there in Pradhana, everything is there, but they were not conglomerated, they were not mixed together to produce something. So, by the Lord's potency, that was possible. So, that again shows us that material energy cannot do anything on its own. We are using current, we are using electricity, we are using sunlight, we are using heat, we are using the ocean, we are using the water. On their own, they are, the energy itself cannot do, it has no power to do something on its own. It has to be moved by energetic. Shakti and Shaktiman principle is there. So here again it said that universe itself is not cause of its own. The universe has a cause, conscious, sentient being, intelligent being, Bhagavan, Supreme Lord, who controls everything, who creates everything, who enters into everything, who makes everything possible, who makes elements put together. So this is what is explained in this. So I'll just read the purport. I'll share screen with you to read the purport. All right. Here, purport to text 19. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Immediately, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur quote from Gita. What they say, Maya Adi Aksha. Maya, Maya. Under mine, Adi Aksha. Under my eyes, Maya is doing Prakriti. Maya doesn't mean here, Maya. Maya means my. Adyakshena Prakriti. Prakriti works under my eyes, under my control. Is not independent. She's not independent. Suyate Sacharacha. Hetunanakam. Jagat Viparivartate. Although apparently she does everything in material world, provides the bodies to all living entities. Maya Adyaksha, under my supervision, under my empowerment, under my control, by my desire, by my interference, by my plan, by my power. She is not independent. The mundane energy Prakriti gives birth to this universe of animate and inanimate beings by my direction. The purpose of this shloka of Gita is that Maya, the perverted reflection of spiritual chit potency, was at first inactive in the state of pradhana, and her extension of matter constituting the material cause was also in a separate dislocated state. Okay. In accordance with the will of Krishna, this world is manifested as a result of the union of efficient and material causal principles of Maya. So how? Icha Shakti, again, by the will of the Lord, Krishna, the world is manifested. So that Icha Shakti was there. Then we remember that there was a efficient cause, there is material cause, all elements are there. They have to be moved. How? By Kala Shakti, by Jiva Shakti, by Icha Shakti, by Kriya Shakti, by Lord's potencies. Everything was set together. Okay. So here, in spite of that, the Supreme Lord himself remains united with his Chit potency. In spite of creating material world, the Lord remained at the side of Ramadevi. Means both in the personal presence of his spiritual potency and means in the spiritual world, spiritually untouched, unpolluted by material creation, unpolluted by contact of material nature, unpolluted by the three modes. This is what it means. Yoga Nidra remains united with his Chit potency, Yoga Nidra. The word Yoga Nidra or Yoga Maya indicate as follows. Now you can see this is interchangeable. Yoga Nidra, Yoga Maya. These are used interchangeably for the potency. The nature of Chit potency is manifested of the absolute truth. Means that the nature of Chit potency, in the spiritual potency, by the spiritual energy, we can understand absolute truth. And also absolute truth becomes manifested. Manifested in the sense one can understand it, and its existence is also spiritual existence, is not material. While the nature of her perverted reflection, Maya, is envelopment in the gloom of ignorance. So, spiritual potency, chit potency, is one side of the manifestation, and another one is her perverted reflection. Maya is envelopment in gloom of ignorance. We have the ignorance, the material potency also. When Krishna desires to manifest something in the mundane, ignorance wrapped affairs, he does this by the conjunction of his spiritual potency with his inactive non spiritual potency. So you can see in creation, both things act. In creation, you have material nature, Jada Shakti, material nature, Maya Shakti, Prakriti. But you have also spiritual potency. You have spiritual potency of the Lord, and you have jivas also, which are spiritual by nature, which are also spiritual potency of the Lord. So this is the combination. When Krishna desired to manifest something in mundane, ignorant, wrapped affair in material world, he does this by conjunction of his spiritual potency with material potency. That's what it means. This is known as Yoga Maya. It carries a twofold notion. Yoga Maya acts twofold, acts in spiritual realm, acts in material realm. Okay, namely, transcendental notion and mundane inert notion, spiritual material. Krishna himself, his subjective portion, and those jivas, who are his unalloyed separated particles, realize the transcendental notion in that conjunction. Jivas and lords, lords' forms, lords' abode, lords' leelas, everything is spiritual. And jivas are also spiritual. While conditioned souls feel the mundane inert notion, but there are some souls which are covered by material energy. They experience this inner material energy. The external coating of transcendental knowledge in the conscious activities of conditioned souls bear the name Yoga Nidra. Now, the word Yoga Nidra is used for Lord also when he's in transcendental slumber, and this is fully spiritual affair. And here Yoga Nidra means the Maya which covers the conditioned souls through transcendental knowledge. So we forget the self, we forget who we are, we forget the Lord, we forget everything around us. This is also an influence of the chit potency of the divinity. This principle will be more elaborately considered hereafter. So we'll discuss more about it. Okay, I just share with you some of the Prabhupada's purports explaining this Yoga Maya interchangeable nature of Yoga Maya. Let me see, where is this? Okay, here Srila Prabhupada says, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila. As stated previously, Yoga Mayam Samadhishat. To give service to the Lord, Yoga Maya appear along with Mahamaya. Okay. Mahamaya refers to Yaya Samohitam Jagat, one who bewilders the entire material world. From this statement, it is to be understood that Yoga Maya, in her partial expansion, becomes Mahamaya and bewilders the conditioned souls. So you see, the same potency expands. Yoga Maya expands into Mahamaya. It's a one potency, but it expands, can work interchangeably. Simultaneously, one moment can work like spiritual, some moment can work like material. In other words, the entire creation has two divisions, transcendental or spiritual and material. Entire creation has two aspects only, spiritual world and material world. There's nothing there. Yoga Maya manages the spiritual world, and by her partial expansion as Mahamaya, she managed the material world. As stated in Narada Pancharatra, Mahamaya is partial expansion of Yoga Maya. The Narada Pancharatra clearly states that the Supreme Personality has one potency, which is spiritual potency, which expands into all other potencies, Swarupa Shakti, Chit Shakti. This is important to understand. How many potencies Lord has? Unlimited potency, but they're all coming from one potency, Chit Shakti, Swarupa Shakti, spiritual potency. All other potency expands. Now, the Narada Pancharatra clearly says that Supreme Personality of Godhead has one potency, which is sometimes described as Durga. Oh my God, now the confusion comes. No, there is no confusion. There is no confusion. The Brahma-saṁhitā says, Chayeva yasya bhavanani bhiparti Durga. Durga is not different from Yoga Maya. When one understands Durga properly, he is immediately liberated. For Durga is originally the spiritual potency. Hladini Shakti, that is Srimati Radharani. The name Durga is Radharani's name also, when refers to spiritual potency. From spiritual potency, material potency comes. From Yoga Maya, Mahamaya comes. It's the same potencies. You can call her Durga, you can call her Radha, if you understand what are you talking about. Okay, more will be explained. Don't worry, don't worry. By whose mercy one can understand Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shakti Asmat. So by mercy of Radharani, we can understand Krishna. We are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So 8 times we chant Radharani's name, because by mercy of his transcendental pleasure potency, God can be understood, revealed. Okay. So now Srila Jiva Goswami explains this, that name Durga is addressed to Krishna's eternal spiritual potency, from which Durga, who operates in mundane world, is different entity. Durga is expansion. Material Durga is expansion of the spiritual Durga, of the spiritual potency. So don't get confused. Here is a simple thing. Look, Srila Jiva Goswami writes, sometimes Durga is considered the Adhishtatri Devata by considering the non-difference between Shakti and possessor of Shakti. Adhishtatri Devata means the original source of everything, basically. The spiritual potency, Chit potency. Okay, Gautamiya Tantra is quoted. Radha, Durga, Shiva, Durga, Lakshmi, Durga, Prakirtita, Gopala, Vishnu Pujayam, Adyanta, Natu Madhyama. Durga is named for Radha, Parvati and Lakshmi in the worship of Gopal, Shiva and Vishnu. So what is the point? The point is the spiritual Chit potency expands as the Lord expands. Okay, I'll just show you for a second in the Goloka chart. The original form of the Lord is Krishna, Radha and Krishna. This is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his Hladini Shakti, with his Chit Shakti, with his Swarupa Shakti, that is Radharani. When Lord expands into Narayana, Radharani follows, she expands into Lakshmi. So that Chit potency is called Lakshmi when she is sitting next to Narayana. Her shadow, her expansion, we already learned, are all other Lakshmis, and Rama Devi, which is Lakshmi, her shadow is Maya. When Lord expands into Shambhu, Rama Devi expands into Maya, Durga. So there are expansions of the same potency, okay? But they are classifications of the potency also. There is spiritual potency and there is material potency. Now you will see here that there is in spiritual world, Durga. This is, I think, in the 8, 7, 6, 5th hour on out the Vaikuntha, you will find Durga. This Durga is a spiritual potency of the Lord. It's not Durga of material world. It is not wife of Shiva. This is the eternal consort of the Lord, having her own planet in the spiritual world where she worships Lord Vishnu, spiritual potency. So this is why this is quoted. The spiritual Chit potency is sometimes called Durga. Of course, in material world, when you say Durga, you think immediately of Mahamaya. But Durga is also a word used for the Chit, for the spiritual potency, for the Yoga Maya. So this is where sometimes confusion comes. So therefore, Acharyas, they give more quotes to explain. Okay. Ya Krishna Saiva Durga Syat, Ya Durga Krishna Eva Sa. Anayor Antara Darshi Samsaran Novi Muchyate. Now, if you understand the spiritual Durga, Ya Krishna Saiva Durga Syat, Ya Durga Krishna Eva Sa. There is no difference between Krishna and his spiritual potency. Shakti, Shaktiman, Avedayo. So look at this. Krishna is not different from Radha, Durga. Radha is not different from Krishna. He who sees difference between them cannot become liberated from this world. Okay? Okay, thus Krishna is Lord and Durga is his Swarupa Shakti, not the Durga associated with material world. This is what Srila Jiva Goswami explains. Don't mix. We are not speaking now about Prakriti, which is shadow, which is perverted reflection of the spiritual potency. Spiritual potency also is called Durga in the Shastra. Okay. Now, the derivation of the word Durga is with great difficulty in worship, she is understood. Durga. Not the Pancharata says in the conversation of Shruti Vidya. Okay, I'll not read the shloka because it's very long, but I will read translation. The supreme lover of Vishnu, called Durga, knows. She is the supreme transcendental Shakti, the counterpart of Mahavishnu. By realizing her, one immediately attains Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul amongst all souls. There is no other way of realizing the Lord. She alone has the nature of complete prema. She alone is goddess of all beauty. By her, one can easily realize the Supreme Lord. She is devotion, a wealth of worship. She is called Prakriti, worships her lover. Because this Prakriti is known only with great difficulty by Atma, she is called Durga, hard to understand by the saints. She is the Lord's consort full of complete rasa. Her secondary Shakti is the goddess in charge of Mahamaya, the material realm. So you see, it's very clearly distinguished in Shastra. These are two different potency. From one, another comes. From spiritual, material comes. By this explanation, the universe is bewildered because she makes jivas think in terms of their bodies. By this expansion, the universe is bewildered. By expanding spiritual potency into material potency, by this expansion, all universe is bewildered. Okay, so here in Samohana Tantra, you see how many quotes are given immediately by Srila Jiva Goswami. Samohana Tantra, Durga says to Jaya, okay, it is, it is I who am designated by name Durga. I am full of all qualities, but my source is the supreme eternal Mahalakshmi, Radha, who is none different from me. Here, Yad Vaibhava Mahalakshmi Radha Nitya Paradvaya. So here it is clear that from Radharani, Lakshmi comes, from Lakshmi, Durga comes. This is how expansions are there. Any confusion? You are looking. Why? Simple. Okay. So this is what we were discussing. Let me see. Okay, now we go back to Prabhupada's purport. Okay, this is, I just explained what Srila Prabhupada mentioned that his spiritual potency is called Durga. So I given this quote from Srila Jiva Goswami. Now I continue that Prabhupada's purport, explaining what is the difference between Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. The Mahamaya Shakti, however, is a covering of Yoga Maya, and she is therefore called the covering potency. By this covering potency, the entire material world is bewildered. Ya samohita jagat. In conclusion, bewildering the conditioned soul and liberating the devotees are both functions belonging to Yoga Maya. You heard that one? Transferring the pregnancy of Devaki and keeping Mother Yashoda in deep sleep were both done by Yoga Maya. Pregnancy of Devaki is who? Balaramji. Balaramji was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini by the potency of Yoga Maya, spiritual potency. Mother Yashoda keeping in deep sleep, that is also done by Yoga Maya. Why? Mahamaya cannot act upon such devotees, for they are always liberated. No? Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakriti marshitaha. Those who are Mahatmas, those who are liberated souls, they are under spiritual potency. They are not under material potency. But although it is not possible for Mahamaya to control liberated souls or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she did bewilder Kamsa. The action of Yoga Maya is presenting herself before Kamsa was the action of Mahamaya. Now when the baby girl was transferred from Vrindavan to Mathura and Kamsa took her in the hand, it was Yoga Maya in Vrindavan. It was Yoga Maya when Vasudeva carried her. It's Yoga Maya when was there sleeping with Yashoda Maya. No, it's Yoga Maya when Devaki saw her. But soon as Kamsa touched her, she turns into Durga. She turns into Mahamaya. This is how one potency acts twofold. Correct? So here, the action of Yoga Maya is presenting herself before Kamsa was the action of Mahamaya, not Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya cannot even see or touch polluted person as Kamsa. In Chandi, in the Markandeya Purana, 11th chapter, Mahamaya says, during the 28th Yuga in period of Vaivasvata Manu, I should take birth as daughter of Yashoda and be known as Vindhyachala Vasini. Vindhyachala Vasini. Correct? So who is speaking? Durga is speaking. I'll be born. Therefore, in South India, in every Kalyana Mandapam, you have this beautiful carving or painting, marriage of Shiva and Parvati. But who is giving Parvati in the marriage? Vishnu. Why? Because he's a brother. Because she is born from Mother Yashoda as a baby girl. Correct? I mean, you should know, you are South Indian. You've seen this millions of times. Correct? You will see one purpose in Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says, must be that she was simultaneously born to Mother Yashoda, Krishna and Durga. Why? Because they are called brother and sister. So Prabhupada hints another point. Oh, I'm going to complicate now, is it? Okay, Krishna appeared, Vasudeva Krishna, forehand form in Mathura. Well, simultaneously, Srila Prabhupada explains in 10th canto, two children are born to Mother Yashoda. One is baby girl, Yoga Maya, and one is boy, Krishna, two-hand form born. So Prabhupada says, must be Krishna is born there to Mother Yashoda, otherwise why they are called brother and sister? So politely Prabhupada puts in one purpose, doesn't explain much. But Baladev Vidyabhushan explains the two Krishna born simultaneously, the four-head form in Mathura and two-hand form. So when Vasudeva brought four-handed form, which was looking like two-handed form, which caused Krishna without two hands to appear as an ordinary child. When Vasudeva came to Vrindavan and Mother Yashoda was put asleep by Yoga Maya potency, she covered the boy, baby boy. He couldn't see baby boy. He saw only girl. So he took the girl and put his boy there. Then two Krishnas merged into one form. Or Vasudeva Krishna merged back into the two-handed form of Krishna, which was born by Mother Yashoda. So this is our understanding, Gaudiya Vaishya understanding of the Leela. You can see it in 10 canto purpose. If you read carefully, Srila Prabhupada explains everything is there. Okay, so the distinction between two Mayas, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, is described as follows. Krishna's Ras Leela with the gopis and gopis' bewilderment in respect to their husbands, fathers-in-law, and other such relatives were arrangements of Yoga Maya in which Mahamaya has no influence. Again, all dealings with Krishna and gopis, apparently attraction between boys and girls, or some kind of immoral affairs where gopis have husbands or relatives and Krishna wants to meet them. These are all spiritual potencies of the Lord. These are all under Yoga Maya. This is nothing to do with material world, not under Mahamaya. These are not activities of material creation. These are all spiritual leelas. The Bhagavatam gives sufficient evidence of this when it clearly says, Yoga Maya Mupashita. On the other hand, there were asuras headed by Shalva and Kshatriyas like Duryodhana, who were bereft of devotional service in spite of seeing Krishna's carrier Garuda and the universal form, and who could not understand Krishna to be Supreme Personality of Godhead. This was also bewilderment, but this bewilderment was due to Mahamaya. Okay, so when karmis, non-devotees, materialistic people get bewildered, this is Mahamaya. This is inauspicious potency. This is potency of ignorance. This is potency which covers original consciousness of the soul. Therefore, it is to be concluded that Maya, which drags as a person from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Jada Maya. Jada Maya. Jada means unconscious, material energy, not spiritual energy. And the Maya, which acts on the transcendental platform, is called Yoga Maya. Prabhupada explains further. When Nanda Maharaj was taken away by Varuna, he saw Krishna's opulence, but nonetheless, he thought of Krishna as his son. Such feeling of parental love in the spiritual world are acts of Yoga Maya, not Jada Maya or Maha Maya. This is the opinion of Srila Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur. Prabhupada quotes additional notes in Srimad Bhagavatam in the first chapter. Okay, so here also you can see this is from 10th canto. Okay, another quote is there. Just a second. Here. Tasyam pratyam yatitayam kamsa ahuya mantrinaha tebya achashta tat sarvam yad uktam yoga nidraya. Now here, Prabhupada translates Yoga Nidraya by Yoga Maya, the goddess Durga. What is the shloka? After night has passed, Kamsa summoned his ministers and informed them of all that has been spoken by Yoga Maya, who had revealed that he who was to slay Kamsa has already been born somewhere else. So, see, this is the incident. Next day, after Kamsa caught a baby and wanted to throw her, smash her into the stone wall, she just flew in the air and manifested 10 hands form of Durga. So she spoke. Okay. So look how Prabhupada translates this. Iti uktam yoga nidraya. Yoga nidra, yoga maya. Remember, interchangeable usage word. How Prabhupada translates yoga nidraya. By yoga maya, the goddess Durga. So don't get confused. Okay. We have to a little bit carefully consider. But these terms are used. These terms are known and they are used in this way. Okay. So this is what this purport explains. Okay, the shloka 19 explained that Lord himself entered by his potency, by his power, these elements got combined and then the creation could take place. Okay, I'll read the shloka 20. Yojayitva tu tanyeva pravivesha swayam guham pravishte tasmimstu jivatma pratibhudhyate. This is text 20 translation. By conglomerating all these separate entities, he manifested the innumerable mundane universes, and he himself entered into the inmost recesses of every extended conglomerate Virat Vigraha. And that time, those jivas who had lain dormant during the cataclysm were awakened. Okay, now this shloka 20 basically explain that after moving these material elements into motion, after they cover the golden egg, Lord enter into each universe. Which is the Lord who enters into the universe? Garbhodakasha Vishnu. Okay. And into innermost of every extended conglomerate element. Now, the Lord who enters into every element is Kshirodakasha Vishnu. He enters actually. The Garbhodakasha Vishnu enters into each universe, but the Lord who enters into the every element and conglomerate it, mix it, assemble it, that is Kshirodakasha Vishnu. This is explained. Okay. Now okay, let me see So Yojaitva. Here the word is used, Yojaitva, after conglomerating. Yojaitva means the interval between combining the elements and going into Yoga Nidra. Okay. Guham refers to the form of the universe after the elements have been combined. And Prabudhyate means that the jivas woke up from the sleep which started at the last destruction of the universe. So this is what the shloka says. Look, after assembling these elements, entering into each element and assembling them, and we will explain what means assembling in a few moments. The Lord entered into inmost recesses of every extended conglomerate, Virat Vigraha. Now we are speaking about universal form here also. And that time, Those jivas who had lain dormant, who were dormant, who were kind of sleeping in the body of Mahavishnu during the cataclysm. Cataclysm means pralaya. You people in India can easily understand, better understand pralaya than cataclysm. They were awakened. Okay, all these jivas now, they were awakened. But why? Because now jivas, they're going to get their bodies. They're going to get again opportunity to act, again opportunity to fulfill their material desires. This is what it is. Okay, so now this conglomeration of the elements is explained. Okay, let me read the purport first, that will explain the conglomeration. Excuse me. The whole guha, hidden cavity, cave, bears various interpretations in the Shastras. In some portion, the non-manifested pastimes of Lord is called guha. The transcendental spiritual leelas of the Lord, which are not visible to our eyes, are called guha, hidden. Guha means hidden, cave, not manifested. Okay, this is one meaning of word guha. Elsewhere, the resting place of the indwelling spirit of all individual soul is named guha. Who is that? Resting place of the indwelling spirit of all individual souls is named guha. The resting place of the indwelling spirit of all souls. Mahavishnu. Correct? Karnadakashari. In many places, the innermost recesses of the heart of each individual is termed guha. The space in the heart when Paramatma resides, there is also guha. And there you will find in Shastra described when meditation Paramatma is there, guha, in the guha of the heart, in the deepest corner in the heart. Because sometimes we say, my heart is polluted by lust, by this, by that. That is mind. So guha means the inner space which is free from subtle body also. That the inner portion, space of the heart where Paramatma and Jivatma resides, this is called guha. The main point is that the place which is hidden from the view of man in general is designated guha. So all this explanation just to tell you what is guha. Those jivas were merged in the Hari at the end of the life of Brahma in the great cataclysm during the preceding great age of the universe, reappeared in this world in accordance with their former fruitive desires. So this is what is said. That then the jivas emerge out from the body of Mahavishnu and enter into the universe to again engage wherever they stop in previous pralaya. Look, now if pralaya comes, if the end of the universe comes now, caught us now, some tsunami, which is pralaya, exactly how it's happened. The great water comes and the sun burns out, dries out the water and burns everything and all elements withdraws. So what will happen to us? What will happen to the people in material world? Those who are self-realized, they'll go home back to Godhead. Those who are not fully realized, they will be born again in the families of devotees. Those devotees, I'm talking about devotees. Those who are motivated and wanted material benefit, all the jivas who are not self-realized, basically, they will be withdrawn back. Garbhodakasha brought them in, so he will pick them up back and withdraw them back in the body of Mahavishnu. So they will be again in dormant position. While they're in the body of the Lord, the subtle body is not there, material desires are not there, everything is withdrawn. But what happens when creation starts again? Lord Shiva is there, Shambhu gives back Ahankara, Maya gives back all everything, all subtle body is given back. Just like when you go to jail, one devotee told me who happened to have some experience for a few days, really. He told me like this, you come there and they remove all your clothes, they give you the dress of the prisoner, and all your possessions are taken into box. And then when they release you out, they give you back your dress as it is. Even after 25 years, you'll get the same dress back, you know. So same thing, Jiva sleeps for millions of years, eons of years in the body of Mahavishnu. When creation comes, gets back this dress. The soul is covered by the subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego, like we have this inner wear, banyan. Okay, and then you get your gross body, you get your shirt and coat, like this. So that's given back to you. Wherever you stop, you continue now. But this is reverse. This is from pure spirit. You go back to your material, wherever your material desires led you to. So this is what will happen. If we did not complete spiritual realization this lifetime, we have to continue. Wherever we stuck, whatever we stop, we have to continue. There, last time we were hearing from Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary that even Brahma, who is devotee, who is self-realized soul, but who has concept that, yes, I'm devotee of the Lord, but by my potency, I created everything. Lord empowered me. I'm the powerful one. Who thinks that I'm independent of the Lord, or he thinks himself even equal in potency. He has to go back to Mahavishnu's body and take birth again. He still will not go home back to God. Remember last time I quoting so many commentaries of Acharyas that not every Brahma goes home back to Godhead. As is case with us, all Brahmas, pranam to you, we were all Brahma when we came from spiritual world, but we got stuck into the material world. Okay, so now this conglomeration of the elements is explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in Tattva Sandarbha. I'll just share the screen and read from that. Shloka 20. Okay, here. They are the stages of material creation in its primary phase. So now just repeat briefly. Srila Jiva Goswami just summarized briefly. So what happens? How material creation starts? There is pradhana, unmanifested, most subtle material nature, prakriti, called pradhana. Here is translated balanced state of nature. Then the glance of the Lord comes with kala, with time energy to move. Mahatattva, chitta. Mahatattva means now agitated material nature. Pradhana becomes disturbed. Now Mahatattva, material nature is moved by time. Modes are there, elements are, everything is, commotion is happening. Then from Mahatattva, Ahankara is created. Vaikarika, Taijasa, Tamasa. Remember, we were discussing all these things. Vaikarika in goodness, Taijasa in passion, and Tamasa in ignorance. And from those, mind is created. From Sattva, Ahankara, intelligence, Tanmatras from Tamasa, presiding deities, senses, and the 5 gross material elements are from Tamasa, Ahankara. Okay, now look at explanation by Srila Jiva Goswami. Because pure elements cannot be employed in the process of creation, the 5 gross material elements listed above must be further combined by the process called Panchikaranam. In this process, each of the elements is mixed with the other 4 according to certain ratio. So we are speaking about 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Now they are existing separately, but now they have to mix to produce the bodies. They have to mix in different proportions. So this is how creation takes place. Then Lord Brahma, now that potency is given to Brahma to do, to mix that. The Lord Kshirodakasha Vishnu enter into his heart and given knowledge how to do that, and given potency how to do that. So Lord Brahma, using these mixed elements, proceeds with secondary phase of creation called Visarga. So far, everything before Brahma is created, born on the lotus, is called Sarga, or the primary creation by Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, Kshirodakasha Vishnu. Now, Visarga, the secondary creation, when Brahma actually mixes the gross material elements and subtle material elements and creates bodies, planets, and all the universe he creates by the direction of the Lord. He creates the bodies of the myriad living beings according to the stored up karmic impressions of the previous life. And what body you're going to get? According to your karma. Because these are all jivas coming from Mahavishnu. These are all jivas who already lived in material world. These are all jivas who already had material bodies and material desires before. And what happened to jiva who comes from spiritual world? First gets body of Brahma. 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that. Okay. So the combining of the elements is described by Baladev Vidyabhushan in commentary on Vedanta Sutra also. Why is this so important, that is subject of Vedanta Sutra? Again, same point. This material nature is not cause of consciousness, is not cause of life, is not cause of creation on its own. There is Shakti, Shakti-man behind the Shakti. Behind every Shakti, there is Shakti-man. The Bhagavan is the cause of creation. Without Bhagavan's interference, this element could not combine together. So all commentary on Vedanta Sutra pointing at theistic conclusion that God is person, God is a conscious sentient being, God is controller, the most intelligent, the most powerful, the possessor of energy, the person, spiritual personality behind all the material creation, and the spiritual manifestation as well. So this is so important. That who created that? What does the science says? Science says there was a chunk. There was a chunk of matter. Correct? But Prabhupada said, but what is the cause of the chunk? Simply you accept there was a matter. So we say there was a God. Who created your God? Who created your chunk? It's same puzzle. You are believing God, but who created your God? God is God. Definition. God is that nobody created. Anadiradir Govinda Sara Karana Karam. That's the very definition of God. You know? That's very definition. Just like you ask, sugar is sweet. Who made your sugar sweet? So like if there is some other element which you have to mix so you get the sugar. Sugar makes everything sweet, and sugar by constitution is sweet. This is definition of Bhagavan. He is cause of all causes. Nobody caused him. Nobody created him. That's God. And now you have the piece of energy, inert energy, and you accept that that is possible to exist without being created. Where's your logic? No? So Prabhupada said, chunk was there, but Bhagavan pushed it. Bhagavan created. How the Big Bang happened, explosion happened. Bhagavan set the fire, therefore it exploded. Fine, from subtle growths come. They are very close. They are thinking from tiny, tiny particle of nothing exploded. And when you ask, what is the nothing? Well, there is a vacuum, and there is this, and there is that. There are so many things in nothing, you know. So it's not nothing. And this is a fact. From nothing, something cannot come out. Just because it's subtle, because it's invisible, you think nothing is there. No. What is there? They don't like our explanation, Mahavishnu and, Karna ocean and Viraja river. This is fantastic. This is some huge person laying on the ocean, and he has scales. And millions of universes are created. And what is your explanation? Primordial soup without the cook. Who made the soup? You must be PhD scientist really to ask stupid question. When you see some nice soup in front of you, rasam, you ask, oh, what a delicious rasam. Who cooked it? But if you are PhD in science, then you ask, what a delicious rasam. Whether cook exists. You must be brainwashed. PhD. What is that? Permanent head damage. It's really like this. You can see from time of acharyas, from thousands of years, we are fighting this impersonal, non-theistic, atheistic explanation of the creation. It's not true. Material elements will not combine themselves. Some living entities has to come and push it, move it, assemble it. Everything is done by the will of the Lord. So look at this mixing of the elements. I'll just share a little bit the screen with you. Okay, this is also from Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentary on Vedanta Sutra. He quotes the shloka and explains. Divide each of the elements in two. Divide each of the elements in two. Okay, each element is split in two. And like earth, fire, water, split in two. And then divide one of each half into. So one of the half into again. So 1/4 again. Mix two small parts of the other elements with large part of the third element. For example, one part fire, half part earth, half part of water, and you get particular body. Brahma has a subtle body, mostly made of subtle elements. We have the gross body. The more gross body, there are more subtle bodies. Yakshas have more subtle bodies. Sometimes they can show their bodies to us. Sometimes they don't want to show. Devatas also, they can show their body to us. So Devatas are more subtle bodies than humans. Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. They have more subtle bodies than Devatas. Then those personalities, Shaktis living in the elements, in the layers, they have more subtle bodies. The elements in Pradhana, there with Mahavishnu in Karna ocean, they have more subtle bodies. Then you have spiritual bodies. Spiritual in Bija form, in the Brahma Jyoti and Vaikuntha, you have fully manifested spiritual body. So you see there is a gradation. There is gradation of bodies, and this is all mixture. There is a mixture. Just like you come in the paint shop, you ask for your color, and they have mixed little red, little blue, little white, little show you color. You like this? So all bodies are like this. We are all humans, but look, we all have different bodies. Why? Because the proportion of element is mixed, and not only element. Even if two people, twins, they look completely same gross elements. The mixture is same, but mind is mixed differently. You can see they're different persons. No, took me 2-3 years to distinguish who is Prem Kumar and who is Ram Kumar. They are twins. They really look same, and I don't know. They always shave same. They always wear same shirts also. So more confused. I don't know. What is the point, you know? But took me 3 years to understand who is Prem and Ram Kumar, and how I would know. If I crack a joke, Prem will laugh and Ram will always remain shy, you know. So then after telling something funny, you know, oh, you fellow didn't come for 10,000 years. And if you cracks in jokes, yes, Prem Kumar. Then I will say, Prem, no, I'll just say, where is Ram? Why he didn't come? And he was so impressed. Oh, he can distinguish. But he didn't know my trick. That is the trick. So subtle body is also mixed differently. Brahma's body, 90% of made of pure intelligence. All elements are there, but they're small proportion. No? Then you have gross bodies made of really gross elements. Some are really gross, you know. Mountains, Prabhupada Shastra said they have a soul. They have body of a rock. They grow. Trees, elephants. Yeah, flying mountains. We describe in Shastra, they have a soul. A very gross body. So these are, you see how the elements are assembled. Amazing, no? Okay, let's read a little more. Let's read a little more. Okay, so this is all you find in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, chapter 5, shloka 32. O Narada, best of the transcendentalists, the formation of body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. Okay, same problem. You see? Same problem. So Lord had to interfere. So what is Purusha Sukta prayers? All these elements, all these Adi Devatas, everybody assemble. Lord, please enter as a soul into Virat Rupa. All elements are there. All universe is there, but it is assembled. Please assemble it. Appear. Push it into the motion. No? Without soul, body cannot develop. It's not possible. Matter to move without presence of spirit. So here, the problem is that they were not assembled. Okay. Purport. Look at the Srila Prabhupada's purport. The different types of bodily constitution living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. So this is how our bodies are assembled of all the universal creatures. Even the planets are assembled like this. Some are subtle, some are gross. Rahu, Ketu, you can't see them. There is right above us, Bhuta Loka. 100 yojanas means 800 miles above us. There is a Bhutas planet. Neither planet we can see, neither Bhutas we can see. But some people can experience them. Wait till Amavasya comes, then I'll tell you a story. Okay. Prabhupada says, when the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he desires. So how can this jiva fulfill desires and again go into fruitive activity? They have to get the body. So this is Brahma's job. He assembles the bodies of all living entities. This is from in Bhagavad Gita, 1861. What is the shloka? The living entity is as seated on machine of the body. Yantra Rudradi Maya. Correct? And the car of the body is moving by control of material nature, just as the railway trains are moving under the direction of controller. The living entities, however, are not the bodies. They are separate from bodily cars. But the less intelligent material scientists cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body namely the senses, mind, and qualities of material modes. See, Prabhupada immediately attacks scientists. Why scientists? He's speaking about mechanics. Why scientists? Because they explain that this material world is assembled just by material nature. It's product of matter. It's material world. There is no cause behind it. There is no God behind it. You see, same point he's hitting what acharyas are explaining. Baladevi Bhushan commentary Vedanta Sutra. Same point Prabhupada is hitting. This is acharya. He really, the conclusion of all acharyas, he just put in this purpose so clearly for us to understand. There is creator. Every living entity is a spiritual spark, part and parcel supreme being. And by the kindness of the Lord, for the Father is kind to his Son, the individual living beings are given little freedom to act according to their will, to lord it over material nature. Just as Father gives some plaything to a crying child to satisfy it, the whole material creation is made possible by the will of the Lord, to allow the bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they desire, although under control of the agent of the Lord. Look at the whole world is described here. The purpose of life is described here. The reality of our existence in material world is described here in one sentence. We were crying child. I want to enjoy separately from you, Krishna. I want to just, don't do that, don't do that. No, I want, all right, here you go, bang. Material world. Just as a crying child, because his independence is there, Lord cannot force, does not want to force. We misuse our independence. The living entities are exactly like small children playing in material field under the control of maidservant of the Lord, Maya. They accept Maya or the maidservant as all in all and thus wrongly conceive supreme truth to be feminine, goddess Durga. Now it's very popular in the West due to feminist movement to call God she. God is she. Why he? Must be she. No. But look at good news. You will love Hare Krishna, all of you Western feminists. We worship God as Radha and Krishna. God is never separated from his female counterpart. God is two, Radha and Krishna. Haribo. The foolish, childlike materialists cannot reach beyond conception of maidservant, material nature, because they say that matter is cause of life. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying they are thinking Durga is cause of it. They are worshipping Durga, material scientists. They accept material nature is cause, so they are Durga worshippers. Okay. They cannot reach beyond conception of the maid-servant material nature. But the intelligent grown-up sons, not the crying children, okay, grown-up sons of the Lord, know well that all the acts of material nature are controlled by the Lord. Just as maid-servant is under control of master, the father of the undeveloped children. Look at this. No? Just as maidservant is under control of master. We went to see one life member here in Salem, and they are quite wealthy family. So that house is big and beautiful, and swimming pool, and so many servants are there. But even servants are dressed so nicely. Then when the maid servant lady opened the door, devotee who was with me from Western country, first time in India, oh, you have so beautiful house. She is a maid servant. So you may say, yes, that's her house also, but she's not the owner. So what happened? We met the owner of the house. We sat, we talked to him, and this maid servant brought some juice to drink. So we drank the juice, we talked to him, and we left. But while leaving, he came with us to the door, and this devotee, foreign devotee who was with me, he turned and told to him, and please tell that lady the juice was very nice. Tell her thank you for the juice, I don't know whether he said your wife or something, but tell to Mataji the juice was very nice. So he said, it's okay. He said, no, please tell her. Said, it's okay, I'll tell her. No, please I want to. He given you juice. That's the maid servant. You understand the problem? He misunderstood because she was dressed so nicely. He thought that's his wife or some, whatever, He never thought this is maid servant. He told, just by glancing, guest came. Just by glancing, material nature supplied the juice. Correct? So who has given you juice? He has given you juice because she brought it in front of you. Oh, thank you very. Ignoring the owner and thanking to the maid servant. What an embarrassment, you know. So same thing, material science is the thing. Matter is cause of everything. Durga is in charge. But Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti is Surati Sacha. But it's not true that there is a owner, there is a lord, there is a master of the potency. And this is understood if you get knowledge in Guru Parampara. Otherwise, we are bewildered. We cannot understand. Okay, so this from Srimad Bhagavatam. One more quote. Oh, what did I do? I pressed something wrong. Share screen. Okay, here. So, Srila Prabhupada continues. The parts of the body, such as the senses, are the creation of Mahatattva. And when they are assembled by the will of the Lord, the material body comes into existence, and the living entity is allowed to use it for further activities. This is explained. Now, next shloka in Bhagavatam, second canto, 5th chapter, 32, now 33. Thus, when all these become assembled by force of the energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, you see this? Bhagavad Shakti Choditaha, Bhagavan's Shakti. This is, you see, this is Bhagavatam, this is theism, this is personalism. Thus, when all this become assembled by force of energy of the Lord, the universe certainly come into being by accepting both the primary and secondary causes of creation. So, Sarga Visarga, like that. Now look at the purport of Prabhupada. In this verse, it is clearly mentioned that the Supreme Personality of Godhead exerts his different energies in creation. It is not that he himself is transformed into material creation. Now, this is what Mayavadi says, that God, Brahman, expanded, and therefore he is impersonal. He expanded into all these energies. No, God has energies. He can expand. Parasya Shaktir Vividava Shivate. He can expand to so many energies, but Purnam, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachat, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. He remains complete. Even millions of complete units comes from him. Millions of energies come from him. He remains spiritual. Materially, it's not possible. Materially, if I have $100, I distributed $1 to all of you. I'm gone. I'm bankrupt. I'm the beggar. I don't have. But spiritually is different. The spiritual energy remains complete. Lord, like a sun, Prabhupada said, the closest experience in material world is that of the sun. Sun is all the time emanating sunlight, heat, and is almost inexhaustible. We don't see the sun is slowly waning down and this. It will come when pralaya comes. But this is the closest object in material world that we can get some idea of. Although emanating constantly energy out, is never losing energy. Everything else, your phone has battery, emanating, using energy, gone. You have to recharge. Everything material is like this, but not the spiritual. Spiritual potency is not like that. So here I'll just continue reading from the purport. He expands himself by his different energies. This is called Shakti Parinamavada. Our philosophy is Shakti Parinamavada. The Lord expands everywhere due to diffusion of his potencies. Not that Lord is lost, but his potencies are spread everywhere. As well as by his plenary expansion. Not only his Shakti Tattva, but Vishnu Tattva also expands from him. Unlimited forms of the Lord. In a corner, look at now, Prabhupada summarizes everything. In a corner of the spiritual sky, Brahma Jyoti, spiritual cloud sometimes appears. And the card portion is called Mahatattva. Here you go. In the corner of the spiritual sky, cloud sometimes appears. And the covered portion is called Mahatattva. Okay? Now, continue reading. Then Lord, by his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, lays down within water of Mahatattva, and the water is called causal ocean, Karna Jala. Then Lord lays down in that water, which is covered by Mahatattva. Okay. Then, while Mahavishnu sleeps within causal ocean, innumerable universes are generated along with his breathing. The universes are floating and they are scattered all over the causal ocean. So this is what is described. All these universes They cluster together just like a foam, just like a grapes clustered together. And they float on the ocean. That's all. There is no other side of the ocean. There's no that there is material. This is material. We are all the time floating in the Karna ocean. Now we are where we are. We are in Karna ocean, man. Within the inside of the universe, covered by sevenfold elements, covered by subtle worry, covered by material desires, covered by our karma, completely ignorance, thinking there is no God. We are so insignificant. Okay, so here, this they stay only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu. In each and every universal globe, the same Mahavishnu enters again as Garbhodakasha Vishnu and lies there on the serpent-like Shesha incarnation. Now within each universe, one universe is enlarged. This is one of these golden spheres enlarged. Garbhodakasha Vishnu lays down on Ananta Shesha. Okay? From his navel sprouts a lotus stem, and on the lotus, Brahma, the Lord of the universe, is born. Okay? Now, from his navel, lotus sprouts, and then Brahma is born. Okay, and then we have within the universe, Brahma creates all forms of living beings of different shapes in terms of different desires. He also creates the sun god, the moon god, and other demigods. Everything is done by Brahma. Therefore, the chief engineer of material creation is Lord himself, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. It is he only who directs the material nature to produce all sorts of moving and non-moving creation. Maya Dyakshina Prakriti. These two modes of material creation, the creation of collective universes, as stated above, done by Mahavishnu, and creation of single universes, both are done by Lord. And thus the universal shape, as we can see, takes place. Sarga and Visarga ultimately are done by the Lord. Though Visarga, secondary creation, is directly executed by Brahma, but is done on behalf of the Lord Vishnu. Just like a rich man builds the house, he appoints some contractor. A contractor is supervising mason, and mason is supervising labor, and they are supervising the gross elements, the bricks and the cement and the sand, and everything is moved. So when you come on the site, you will see contractor is doing. You will not see owner doing work, unless he is a poor man, so he has to build his own house. But Bhagavan is not poor man. He has his potencies. He has his opulences. So he himself may not be directly making it. Brahma is making it. Brahma creates all the bodies. Right? But who is supplying money? Who is building the house? The house owner, the one who invests, who organizes, whose will is there, whose power is there, potency he must have. So this is how it is. Okay. So let me see. We have one more quote here. Yes, I think we have a Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this shloka. Just for a second, I'll share the screen. Yeah. Now, the Karya Shrishti is described. When these ingredients were unmixed, asangata, and when it was not possible for them to make the bodies, ayatan, then the Lord entered them. They became combined by his compacting energy, and taking primary and secondary forms, created the body of the universe as the whole and the individual bodies. So both things are created by the assembling elements. Virat Rupa of the Lord, planets, and all the bodies of all living entities. This is created. So how? By his compacting energy. Yeah? So these energies were explained. Kala Shakti, Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jiva Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. All these energies are used in the creation. Oops, 9:15. Okay. So there were two more quotes in the. Okay, I'll stop here. I'll not push anymore. We'll continue next time. Okay. Thank you very much for coming and hearing. Do we have any questions? I'll see in the chat. Do we have few questions on this subject? Mm-hmm. Okay, where are the questions? This is done. Going to WhatsApp. Oh, there is a question about Subhadra. Was she born to Yashoda's Yoga Maya? The Subhadra Devi, the question is here, who is Subhadra? Was she born to Yashoda as Yogamaya? What is role of the universal form in creation? How do we understand universal form? Okay, now please, for the universal form, I don't want to do any spoilers. They will be explained in the next lecture, the universal form, Hiranyagarbha, the relation between the universal form and the all other creation. Universal form means all universe, whatever exists, that's the universal form. So we'll be discussing next lecture about that. But who is Subhadra? Subhadra is Krishna's sister. She is many times referred to in the Shastras Yogamaya. And now the question, was she born to Yashoda as Yogamaya? We were just discussing a few days ago, and Krishna showed me the purport, and Srila Prabhupada explained that Subhadra is born of some other wives of the Vasudev. So she is not born directly of the mother Yashoda. She is born from some other wife of the Vasudeva, but is Krishna's sister, and she is definitely spiritual potency of the Lord. She is also called Yogamaya. So this is one question. Vishwarupa, universal form, tomorrow. Oh, that's all. Only one question. Okay. Do you have any questions? Anybody here? Okay, there is a question. Is it correct understanding that the birth of Lord Brahma is directly possible by Garbhodakasha Vishnu and is not done by Shambhu and Durga? Yeah, that's what Shastra says. That Garbhodakasha Vishnu creates Brahma. That's the fact. Yeah. So where you get this Shambhu and Durga? Because they impregnate, Shambhu impregnates material nature, Prakriti, with the Jivas and Kala. Therefore, creation takes place, you know. So, but this is also done by the will of Mahavishnu. Who given the time? Kala Shakti, Mahavishnu. Who, by whose will? Icha Shakti of Mahavishnu. Whose Jivas? Jiva Shakti, Vishnu's potency. Who's Kriya Shakti? Their activity, assembling. Adhara Shakti. Who is that energy? That's also Vishnu's energy. So although Shambhu and the Durga, they are involved in material creation, is not directly that they are cause of Brahma. They are cause of Brahma in the sense that yes, they provided material elements. They are involved in that. But here you can see directly from Garbhodakasha Vishnu, Brahma sprouts up. So all the agents are involved. It's not that Shambhu and Durga are not involved in that sense. But Garbhodakasha Vishnu is from his navel, Brahma sprouts, using these elements provided by combination Shambhu and Durga, provided by the will of Mahavishnu. So it's a whole group, there's a whole complex group of personalities and potencies involved. So this is what is explained. Okay, last week questions are pending. But what are those questions? You have the questions? Last week questions are pending? Okay. Okay, so till we figure out the last three questions, I think we'll stop here because nothing is happening. Next time, tomorrow. Thank you very much. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrī Brahma-saṁhitā ki jai. Gaur Premanand.